from In Touch News
and radio.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host, guests, and callers who are responsible for their content and do not reflect the opinions of In Touch Radio or its staff.
Is the call-in number. Would love to engage with the audience on, all that's happened this week. But let me jump everything off with Brittany Griner is home. I am beyond ecstatic that she has been released in what was a prisoner swap. Excuse me. President Biden, the Biden administration, let me put it that way. Have been negotiating for some time to secure her release. There's also been some talk about former Marine Josh Freeman, who's also being held captive by Russian authorities. There was a possibility that he could be released as well. Looks like it ended up being Brittany Griner. And she was, her release was secured on the release of Victor Bout. Victor Bout is a convicted arms dealer that we had held in captive here in the U.S. And so the trade-off was Brittany for Victor, and it looks like that's been successful. So, but there's been a lot of backlash, and I wasn't really prepared for that. I was quite surprised, actually. Some of the backlash from Brittany's release, the trade, how everything went down. There's just been way more scorn than I had anticipated. And I'm kind of surprised by that, a little disappointed in the reactions that I've seen. I think everyone's pretty familiar with the Griner case, but in case you're not, let me quickly recap. Brittany Griner was, earlier this year, she was held, she was arrested. Russian authorities. We have a caller coming in. Okay. Let's see who this is. Caller, who are you? Welcome.
Hello, how are you? This is Sir Paris. Hey, King, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. Listen, I am one thing. I feel weird. I apologize to everybody that I can't be there in studio today. I am just excited to see you in the seat. I was watching on Facebook, and boy, you look pretty good. And like,
I do not look like how I feel, so I did my best to try to cover that up. Trust me.
You mentioned the thing about Brittany Griner, and the shameful thing about Brittany Griner, about everything that happens in America it gets put into a political lens. And, we think about the value of people. Now, you think about it. First, you're literally training a person for a person. Right? One person. And so you have to look at the people, the value of the people, either the gain or the loss from that person, and then the societal part. I was listening to some pundits say, well, Joe Biden is trying to just gain some political points with black folks and with the gay, lesbian / woke community by getting her home. That we got a killer, terrorist arms dealer now back out on the street who can help Putin with his his armaments and things of that nature. But that's an unfortunate thing that we have to put it in the political lens. But it is what it is, and you don't always get it in negotiations. A good negotiation means both sides don't get everything they want.
Sure.
That's when it's a good negotiation. Both sides compromise a little bit.
Let's also talk about how this whole situation has made instant experts of folks on, negotiations, geopolitical topics. I mean, I've just seen all kinds of think pieces about this, and folks chiming in on a matter that none of us have an inside, scoop on, right? We're all on the outside kind of speculating as to, how this, kind of came about and why things are as they are. And what I think has been accurately reported is that Josh Mueller was not offered as the exchange from the Russians. They absolutely did not budge on that. So it was one of those situations where, the Biden administration had to either take, what was offered, and that was, to have Brittany Griner released in exchange for Victor Bout, or nothing at all. And honestly, I think I'd rather come away with something than nothing.
You're right about that. The other one is, of course, there's a lot to these things that we don't know that gets reported and things of that nature. But you're right. You have to kind of take what you can get. I'll tell you what, I was kind of trying to figure out the timing of it. That this followed the election, and it followed Joe Biden announcing the kickoff for his new, presidential campaign, which I anticipate is coming. I thought that piece of it to me was kind of interesting as it relates to the, it's been a minute since we had a big major, I won't say hostage exchange or prisoner exchange. You didn't see much of that, I think, under Donald Trump.
Right.
Right. You saw much of that. And now we have a situation where, this happening under Joe Biden. But I thought the timing of it to me also was a thing that got my attention. Media's got to sell something, but did that get your attention, though? The timing of it, before he announces, and how does now, Brittany Griner may play in his campaign.
Yeah, listen, Biden's been racking up a lot of wins in this, last few months. The election went over much better for Democrats than was anticipated. And Brittany Griner has been really, I mean, he's just been on a roll, lately. A lot of the things that folks thought were going to, crash him, he's actually been able to, overcome or even, exceed expectations on. And so, when you asked earlier, people were, kind of, saying it was all political. Well, I mean, the man if he's going to run for re-election, he's got to rack up some wins to stand on in order to campaign. And so, I don't think anyone can hardly blame him for, touting this out as one of his wins. Someone had mentioned to me earlier in the week that he probably should have played it a little low-key, but I'm not sure that was even a possibility, considering, it was Russia involved, Brittany Griner. I mean, this whole thing has been explosive since the very beginning. I'm not sure how you low-key play a Brittany Griner release.
Oh, no. Listen, no. There was no way, and in the world of politics, there's no reason to. When you've got something to celebrate, particularly in this situation right now, and I'll just put it in more political terms, the Republicans are in the midst of turning and focus on themselves right now. They've got internal battles. It is a great time for Joe Biden and the Democrats to get some momentum. They've got the arena's clear. Right. The playing field is clear. Sure. So right now there's no leadership right now in the Republican ranks. So absolutely, you play this as a win. you celebrate it, and watch this. I think it strengthens Joe Biden's liberal flank because she's gay. You know, it absolutely strengthens him on that side, which has been an argument against him, is that he's not really. He's more of a moderate Democrat.
Sure.
So for him to get this win, so I'm a firm believer that when things are bad, there's nothing you can do about it. You got to fight your way through. So when you get a win like this, and you mentioned something else, Joe Biden has a number of wins.
Oh yeah.
He's got and then I'll tell you one that I just was had his drive to Tallahassee for my son's graduation with FSU, and he's got another win. Thank you very much. With gas prices are down. You know, we filled up for 40. I filled up for $40. You know, so that is another big, I think, win for him as well. So yeah, I think you got to celebrate the things that that go in a positive direction for you, particularly in the political realm, because when they go bad and you get that negative press, and in presidents, normally you'll see they really move from crisis to crisis. They go from crisis to the next crisis, the next crisis to the next crisis. So when you can control the narrative with an outcome of something that's positive, I agree with you. I was just trying to play out in my head. I think about politics oftentimes from the scope of, if I was giving advice to the politicians, why would I tell them to do what they just did? And in this case, for Joe Biden, he tried, I think, create some feel good going into the holiday season. He hopes it carries over. It's going to dominate the narrative. Or, I'm going to throw this out, he's got something he's trying to cover. Because if he doesn't, what he's going to hear, they're trying to build up this thing about Hunter Biden and try to get some traction on that. So somebody asked me about that in Tallahassee about the Hunter Biden thing. So I think he's trying to get the positive press, and it's worked. It's been on every news station he's been on. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's dominating the news cycle, and I'm chuckling because you mentioned that it could be cover for something that he may be hiding, and I'm always thinking, well, you kind of need to celebrate every win that you get because you don't know what's around the corner. If the other shoe is going to drop, right? So you kind of got to, boost and promote and celebrate every win that you come across. And he's been winning very hard lately. Excuse me. And so I am, I'm like you. I'm kind of looking to see, okay, what's coming up,
Well, if you think about first of all, I think we're going to get some positive numbers going into the close with the holiday season. Gas prices going down. Now, you just had, I think, our oil leak out in the Midwest somewhere that I heard there was a pipeline that broke out in Kansas that caused major pollution. That they're, saying the biggest pipeline break in X period of time and whatnot. But that's not on Biden because he's more conservative when it comes to the pipeline, development and stuff. But I was going to be interesting. Also, let me ask you about Britt. Do you think when she gets back here, she is going to take a more public position politically? In this current environment, we're looking for our athletes to be a little bit more out front. Do you anticipate that she may take a more public position?
Yeah, there's been a lot of chatter about that. I saw some comments regarding, will she be, more pro-American? I'm not sure what they meant by this. Will she be more pro-American? Will she embrace Biden and campaign for him, or something along those lines? And my thinking is that Brittany's probably going to be, she's been gone for some months. No communication or very little with anybody outside, of that Russian prison. And so my thinking is that she's going to keep to herself for some time. I can't see her jumping right out and, going out and being boisterous about, anything. I think she really just wants to be home with her family. And,
Right, which is something that I guess, you could say is expected. I understand she's in a prisoner reunification facility right now.
Right. She's not even home. Right. Yeah. She's still, being isolated, if you will. And so my thinking is that she's just focused on, reconnecting with her family. At least I know that's what my focus would be on. I really wouldn't be trying to determine how to jump into, the spotlight after something so traumatic. But eventually down the road, I think that door is open. But I'm not sure it's going to look like, how people may think it will. I'm not sure she's going to just, she's never been, an attention hog of sorts. I'm not
Right.
seeing where she's just going to, turn around from that at all.
Kenya, I promise you the show was yours today, but I couldn't resist calling in. I'm probably thinking Bezel is probably looking at you saying, you need to take a break in a couple of minutes.
He is.
But if you like to listen, he's on his job. But listen,
He is.
If you like me to, I can stick around for another segment.
Okay.
But I just give you a call. I'll hold. Go ahead and take your break, and I'll wait for you to come back on this.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661. By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sundown. 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky. It's a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
It's a beautiful day.
This is Daryl Johnson.
In Tampa Bay, Tammy.
Wishing all our listeners all over the world
Happy holidays.
happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
From In Touch News.
And radio.
We're back. We're having a few technical issues. If you're listening on Facebook, it may be a little hard to pick us up audio-wise. So, but please know you can also see and hear us on intouchnews.com. Clint, are you still there?
Okay. Yes, I am, and I'm loving it.
Oh.
Listening to you and Bezel trying to figure out how to make this. Listen, a lot of times people just hear on the other end, and the smooth production of a show. And on the inside, it's kind of different watching the sausage be made and, and watching Bezel try to pull off his magic and keeping everything running, though. So, but listen, you may have heard me say sometimes on the show, I use the hour in the morning as my therapy session. To just it's a moment to get all these things in my head out and share on various issues that have come up. So anyway, what else you want to talk about this morning?
Well, I want to talk about, let's stay on this winning streak. Let's talk about this Warnock Walker election, race.
Okay.
How this played out.
If I'm drunk, take another lap, I will gladly go back around again and wave at the people. Let me say this, though. That Mitch McConnell told us way back during the primary. We've got some bad candidates, he said, for the Republicans.
Yep.
He said that. We've got some bad candidates. And the Republicans, unfortunately, the structure of their, and if we could ever get I would say, a real Republican who's open and honest to come on the show and just acknowledge what everybody knows. Y'all are a mess right now. You're split into two camps. You've got the Donald Trump folks, and you've got these other Republicans. And you can't win a Republican primary without the Donald Trump people. And so in the primaries, you get Donald Trump folks. But guess what? Those folks are pretty much unelectable in any kind of balanced, equal district. Yeah. And so his candidate went down in Warnock, just ran circles around poor Herschel. That man should have never been in that race. Herschel Walker had no business, being there.
Yeah.
He had no business being there, and he was there because Donald Trump put him there, as were a number of other candidates. I thought it was the only good thing I thought I saw Herschel do. He showed some dignity in his speech where he conceded.
Right.
When he asked people to keep their faith in America in the process, to vote, in the Constitution. That was probably the best part of his whole campaign.
Yeah, right. This was a really strange campaign. We got vampires and fake sheriff's badges and all kinds of craziness that came out of this campaign. And the fact that he was so close, I was trying to pull up the percentage of the results here.
Like 48, 51 or 46, 45, 50.
Ridiculous. So even though he was a terrible candidate, McConnell was truly right. Even though he was a bad candidate, he still garnered. Look how close he came. Look how close. It should have never been that close. At least, if I was a betting person, I would have never bet it would have been that close.
Well, Kenya, if elections were about qualified candidates, who's better qualified? But too often they're about, party politics. Democrats are guilty of that as well. There was a time when people walked in and they voted for which candidate they really like better.
Yeah.
Now most people don't even know the candidate, and your party affiliation determines more so the vote. And so what made that really close. And I'll tell you, if they go back and look at the numbers, you're probably going to find that the Libertarian and Independent voters are the ones that put the thing over the top for Warnock.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well.
Those are the ones that probably put him over the top. Put him over the top. But I thought the end of it had some normalcy. When Herschel Walker gave a concession speech, I thought, well, that's how it's supposed to go.
Right.
It's like, sorry, my dog is barking at me, trying to take him out.
He wants to be part of the conversation, too.
So he's pissed that we've had him locked up since yesterday in this hotel room.
Oh, yeah.
So, what I was saying is that the normalcy piece of it was that the conceding at the end of the election. But I thought that I love the idea though that you had this Warnock versus Herschel Walker race, because here's Warnock, he's a person made of his own efforts in life, and here's Herschel Walker basically, I would just say it like it is, kind of leaning to a white establishment to create another opportunity for him. And I think we get beyond that imagery. That is not one, where, and just because somebody, just keep it where it is, somebody white tells you you're good at this and go do this, you jump out and do it, and you just ruin your whole reputation in the process.
Yeah.
And that's what we have. Herschel, I think, he just embarrassed himself.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about, because you mentioned earlier, how independents may have been turned off by, Walker. He's just a bad candidate. Usually when that happens, independents usually go the other way. But let's also talk about how folks coming out in droves again for Warnock because Walker was such an insult to black voters, right?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, some folks were just like, wait a minute, you really? You know, like, come on. This is the guy you're going to put up against Reverend Warnock, a stalwart in the Atlanta community? Come on. Come on.
From out of state. You come from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you know, like President Obama said, just because you can play football doesn't mean you can be a senator.
Right.
You know, that doesn't mean you can be a senator.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of being, because you've made some real estate deals, that doesn't mean you can be president.
Exactly.
And we found that out the hard way, you know. And unfortunately, so it was, I think it reset the table. And I don't know if you had this on your list of things this morning. Again, I'm intruding in your space. It's your show, Kenya, today. I told you, it's yours. You know, is what Kirsten Sinema did after we get the results in the Warnock race. Where she is now declared that she is now an independent.
Right.
And which of course doesn't change the balance of power in the Senate, because you still have, you know, 50 versus 49. And she's going to caucus with the Democrats, but she did that for registration purposes in Arizona. Arizona has a large number of independent voters.
Yep.
That's almost as many as a Democrat, and it was kind of rumored that she would not be able to win a Democratic primary.
She wasn't going to survive.
And so for that reason, you know, they thought that, okay, we will go ahead and she thought from her team, I think. But I'm happy to see Warnock won the race. You know, it's always a good movie when at the end of the movie you feel like the good guy won.
Right.
The bad guy didn't get away with the crime, and the good guy won, and society is safe.
Democracy is saved once again, right?
Exactly. I feel much better. I want to ask you this, though. What do you think this means for the future politics in Georgia?
Very good question.
You know, because I thought Stacey Abrams would, if the trend in Georgia kept moving like it would have, I thought she should have done better. That's what made me concerned about Warnock. And the fact that she didn't do better, I thought she would have been a real drain on Warnock. It doesn't seem like that was the case.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that too. When she did not win that governor's seat, I was concerned really for how it would work out for Warnock in the runoff. But here's the thing. I'm sorry, I know exactly who it was. He was in the ring. He made a very good point in some discussion we had earlier this week that please do not be fooled. Georgia is still a red state. Warnock's win, Stacey's almost win. You know, it would, you know, if you're on the outside looking in, it would appear that Georgia is making this dramatic shift to be a Democrat. But the truth really is that, you know, Warnock, perhaps he really just got lucky in the sense that Walker was just a bad candidate. Excuse me. And, you know, he turned off so many folks who would ordinarily may have cast a vote for him that they just didn't even bother, or they voted in for his opposition. And so here's the thing. Will we see another run for the governor's seat from a Democratic candidate like a Stacey Abrams? Because I don't think she's going to run again. Will we see, Georgia really be able to hold on to its two Democratic senators? I don't think it's safe to say that Georgia is completely blue now. I think what we're seeing is that
from the senatorial.
Yeah. Things, worked out really well for Democrats in Georgia. Will they be able to hold on to that? I don't know. It doesn't seem
one of the
like
things I thought that hurt Stacey Abrams was her strength as a woman.
Please elaborate.
I think she got the same kind of fatigue that Hillary got a little bit towards her last run. Okay. Is that she put such a strong face on so many issues, it made a lot of people uncomfortable. Even Democrats, black folks, and some women to say, wait a minute. I don't know if we're quite ready for that streak of independence and where it might go. That's one.
What do you mean not ready?
Okay. So let me tell you this. Everybody wants to think there's predictability in power. that who's in power, we want you to do the things that you want to do, but we want to make sure those things are what we want you to do.
Right.
And I thought too often, sometimes with Stacey, she was too far out front on some of the issues that things that she wanted to push. And even our folks, I think, sometimes they get a little uncomfortable, you know, and that's kind of why, let me just use the framework, why when Barack Obama was running, he went and got a tall, old white man that everybody knew, stuff down next to him. To kind of say everybody, look, he's going to be with me, don't worry.
To kind of
I'm not
soften
going
the blow.
but not to get rid of the fear and insecurity. Like, okay, well, we know, you know, his interests are our interests too, so we're okay with that. They were a little worried about Stacey. They were really, really, you know, and I think some of our folks got worried about Stacey as well, and that's probably why some of the votes. And then, of course, you had a governor in Georgia, Kemp, who came through for Democrats on the Donald Trump stuff through his own, you know, negative influence. Well, I don't like the guy, and I don't give him any points for doing his job. There were a lot of other Republicans who rolled over for Donald Trump, and he did not.
That's true.
At great risk. And so I think some people wanted to kind of, you know, I think they felt the need to say that. Listen, I told you I'm not going to take up your shit. It's your day, Kenya. But listen, before I go, you may have done this already. I want to give a shout out and well wishes to one of our guest co-hosts, Edna Rain. I want to let everybody know he's on the mend, and you know, he'll be back on the show as soon as we get an opportunity to get him back in.
I was gonna say,
and share with
you coming back too, right? Right?
Oh yeah, I got to need my therapy. That's what I'm saying. So listen, Kenny, I'm going to let you go now. I'm going to get out because I know Bevel's probably looking at you, pressing the button, and it's time for your second, but I'll be listening. And anybody listening, you want to call in, you know, hit the number 813-444-9588. And all my callers, you need to give Kenya the business like y'all give me. Call her up and let her know what you think. And do not let this be some walk in the park for her. You know, let her know that, hey, listen, you guys out there.
Thanks, Clint.
Anyway, thank you, Kenya.
Take care.
You, man, I'll be listening. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Nestled in the heart of West Tampa, the Maduro Marauder Cigar Lounge offers a wide variety of premium cigars from Esteli, Nicaragua. In addition, the lounge offers a relaxed environment for you to come back, lay, chill, and relax and smoke a great cigar. Visit us at our brick and mortar location, 1944 West Main Street, Tampa, as well as online, www.maduromarauders.com.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
In Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
We're back. I appreciate Clint dropping in to chat with me about some of the things. Oh, we got another caller. Let's see who this is. Caller? Caller, welcome into Straight Up the Middle. Who are you? Introduce yourself.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenya. Good morning, Kenya. That's a Carl. How you doing?
Carl, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. You got something you want to share with us?
Hey, I was just I want to chime in somewhat with a good attorney was just saying about that move with the trade with Brittany. That's definitely gonna help with Joe Biden's candidacy when he runs for this election, because you're always hearing, you know, constituents saying, you know, we don't get anything out of the president. You don't get anything out of the president. So, and he's really putting his foot up in this, trying to, you know, with selecting this Supreme Court justice, Cassandra Brown.
Yep.
So he's really, you know, catering to this black audience, which is good. Now, there's another thing that they're trying to touch on, that they're going to come at him with this Hunter Biden thing, you know, with this Hunter Biden thing. So, I hope that this is the thing where it doesn't really touch him, you know, as much as it would have with this, because I think this is going to draw the attention away from that.
So let me back up a little bit. Let me get your thoughts on the Brittany Griner situation. What did you think? Was that was that the best thing that they could have done, or were you expecting another outcome?
I mean, yeah, because she really had no threat. She was just a bargaining tool that the Russian used, because, you know, the sanctions that the Americans put on Russia, and that's what, you know, and from what I was hearing, they really wanted to keep the president out of it because they didn't want him to lose any ground with his stance with Russia.
Okay, good point.
So they really kind of like kept him out of it, and they kept, you know, so that's why he didn't make any announcement. He didn't make any public comments about that. Because, you know, so he just stayed back in the back. I think he had to, you know, he made the final call on it. So
was his decision?
So he didn't want
his decision, did that strengthen your support of the president?
Right. Yeah. He made that decision, but he couldn't let it know that he was, you know, he was a bargaining. So because Russia would have just capitalized on that. So. And like now with my question, I mean, I wish that the good attorney was available. I would really would have asked him about the with this Christian cinema.
Yeah.
You know, by her becoming independent.
Right.
You know, I don't think she abandoned. I don't think she abandoned the Democratic Party. I think she's doing it for a deeper political reason.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, she'll still vote and caucus rather with Democrats, but if we're talking about her trying to, you know, be reelected next year because she's up for reelection, if she's trying to keep that seat, this is more about trying to keep that seat than staying in the Senate.
Right. So I mean, and politics, like I always say, politics, you know, is a really grimy, you know, gutter type, you know, environment. So,
absolutely.
And being that I'm from Georgia, Will not really brought that. He really brought that home, and he really, you know, and I kept asking the good attorney, why would you get Herschel Walker? Convince him to really get in that arena when he really had no dog in the fight.
Right.
I mean, you already got your notoriety as a star football player, Hall of Famer.
Right.
You know, right. But you got Donald Trump that really, he has ways of defaming people the same way he did with the surgeon.
Dr. Oz?
Not Dr. Oz, but even with him, even with Dr. Oz. Ben Carson.
Oh, Ben Carson, yes.
Ben Carson. This guy's a neurosurgeon. Why would you pull a neurosurgeon in your cabinet and you make him, put him over HUD? He has a way of just,
I think he was
defaming people.
Yeah, I think he was, because just one election season prior, he was, he had the golden touch. He would, support a candidate, and that candidate could easily win their race. And this election season, not so much. Walker lost, Mehmet Oz lost. All of the candidates that he got behind, with the exception of just a few, they did not win their races.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right, and he really defamed a lot, with a lot of them. So he really messed those guys up. But however, because of that base.
Now, what did you think about his pulling Herschel Walker from Texas to run in the Georgia Senate election? Southerners don't take too kindly to carpetbaggers. So, people who don't have any kind of attachment to, their hometown or their state. Some may see that as offensive. Were you kind of perplexed by that?
And most definitely because again, somebody convinced him that because he was popular, being from Georgia, played football in Georgia, he used that as his fame. So, but he used that as fame. But as the story came out about who he really was, that really made him look like he was being used.
Ah, gotcha. Now, I understand you're a trucker.
Yeah, yes, I am. Yeah, yes, I am. That I am. I'm not in my truck now, though.
Oh, you're not in your truck now? Oh, Max.
No, I'm not in my truck now. I'm doing some hometown leisure time.
Oh, man. Okay. I was hoping you were in your truck. Maybe we could have, got a little horn, a little too. But thanks so much for calling in, Carl.
You're welcome. Nice show.
Stay safe. Thank you. All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate all the calls, but I would love to have some more. 813-444-9588. Your regular listeners, Clint gave you a charge before he left. He told you not to take it easy on me. So I would love for someone to just, call and, give it to me, make sure you, follow through on what Clint charged you with. So, but anyhow, let's keep things moving. So we've knocked down quite a few topics going on in the news this week. But I think the one thing that we have not touched on is some controversy brewing right here in the state of Florida. We had an indictment come down for Florida Representative Joe Harding, and I should say former Representative Joe Harding. He was indicted this week, and he is facing some charges of transpire, I believe. And this is very significant because Joe Harding is the author of the very controversial Don't Say Gay bill that was passed earlier this year. And so lots of things kind of colliding here. He's been indicted on wire fraud and money laundering charges related to, looks like we have a caller. Want to join me on this? Hi, caller. Welcome. Who are you?
Good morning, Senior Woodard.
Well. I might have known.
This is heavily medicated, so I cannot be responsible for anything that I say.
Oh, no, this is excellent. This is great. This is fantastic.
Former state representative. really former, because there's been a lot of people since Edna Rain. Thank you, Clint Parrish, for your shout out earlier. But I just had to call in today because you guys are way off your rocker today. I'm hearing all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm so confused. I'm very confused. First of all,
yes,
y'all need to step back off my man Herschel Walker. Okay.
Wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Your man Herschel Walker. How did this happen?
Yeah, he's one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Oh, listen, his dominance on on the gridiron, that's not up for debate. The man is excellent at football. But now, when we're talking about anything outside of that,
Well, I mean, look, he's one of the greatest abortionists of all time.
oh, wow.
Probably one of the greatest liars of all time.
Oh, my God.
He's also the worst candidate of the Georgia Senate in history in the Georgia Senate. Well, listen, let's remember a couple of things, okay? Herschel Walker is exactly who racist white people, not all white people, I want to be clear, racist white people think black men are or should be. They love our athletic ability. They love that we can be successful through athletics, but don't think we can be successful any other way. And so his inability to speak on the stump, his comments, his obvious abuse of women over the years, all of that stuff, that's what they think we are, which is why they threw him into the race. But let me just say this. Reverend Warnock and what he accomplished was an incredible feat, okay? It was incredible because what all the pundits keep missing is that Georgia is still a red state.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not this Democratic state, blue state, or even a purple state. It's a red state. So when somebody wins a race like that, that's an incredible feat. I think it's unfair to draw a contrast between his race and Stacey Abrams' two races. Part of that is the distinction that because the state is a red state. But the other piece is that Reverend Warnock had national resources pile in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was over $40 million for that Senate seat that came in, I think I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And Stacey Abrams basically built a voting machine from the ground up, you know, going all the way back to 2012 until 18, and then again here in the 2022 cycle. So I don't think it's, you know, apples to apples comparison when we ask ourselves why she didn't do as well.
Sure.
The other thing to think about is that Governor Kemp is not a bad governor. And I say that meaning what he's done was very smart. When Ahmaud Arbery was killed, it was him and his office that called on the Georgia legislature to repeal the citizens arrest law. And so if you think about how people typically vote, people are only voting for one or two reasons. They're either voting for something or they're voting against something. The Abrams campaign ran a race that encouraged people to vote against a sitting incumbent governor and for her. But the reasons that they gave weren't good enough. People felt like he was doing a good enough job, and he was listening to the concerns, and he honestly did pivot on the key issues that Abrams could have used against him to win.
Yeah. And not to mention, he was kind of dethroned a little bit by Trump, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that helped.
The Trump thing was good because if you were a moderate Republican who wasn't really, you know, maybe held your nose and voted for Trump in 2016 and then didn't vote at all in 2020, you respected him standing up to Trump the way that he did.
Right.
If you notice, he did not really work with Herschel Walker until the runoff. And the only reason why he did that is because he has political aspirations of his own.
Right.
So he knew he needed to play ball. But, you know, I'm not saying Kemp is some great governor. I'm saying they played the politics of it perfectly.
Yeah.
Now, outside of you trying to get Mr. Carl to blow his horn today, I don't know where that came from.
That's
you
between me and Mr.
Carl.
Carl. Thank you.
About the Democrats, right?
Yeah.
And the biggest problem that Democrats have goes back to an article I shared with you last month from the Atlantic. Democrats fall in love with losers.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, no,
it's true. That's exactly what the article says. Yes.
Yeah, the potential of a candidate is what we're enamored with. And we think this person would be great if they could get into office because they represent all of my values, right?
Sure.
Well, the truth of the matter is Stacey Abrams got close the first time. You could argue she was cheated the first time because of the exact match system that Kemp put in place as Secretary of State. But she didn't win in 2022. She didn't even get as close.
No.
The momentum wasn't there anymore.
Right.
Same thing for Beto O'Rourke over in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who was a congressman and then ran for every other position since, and he lost his governor's race
Mm-hmm.
in a spectacular fashion in Texas this last cycle.
Yeah.
But why do we keep putting these people up? Like Charlie Crist here in Florida for the second time as a Democratic nominee for Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Because the party is in love with losers. It doesn't want to do the grassroots work to register voters.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't want to do the grassroots work necessary to build new candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, whenever there's a money disadvantage, which the Democrats are at, it's easier to throw out somebody with a high name ID and say, this is your person, than it is to try to really develop new leaders like a Finch's Driscoll, for example,
Right.
who in our state is likely to run statewide one day
Mm-hmm.
and actually be successful.
Oh, yes, that's the difference. I'm going to hold you right there. We're going to take a break. We ready for break? Yeah. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Ed, are you going to stick around? Do you have more thoughts that you can share?
Yeah, the medicine's kicking in, so I'll stick around. Who knows what I'll say next.
Oh, goodness. I can't wait. All right. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
It's a beautiful day.
This is Daryl Johnson.
And Tampa Bay Tammy.
Wishing all our listeners all over the world
Happy holidays.
happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
From In Touch News
and radio.
All right, we're back. Straight up the middle on In Touch News. We're talking about election results in Georgia. Ed, you were making the point about Democrats loving losers, or loser-loving Democrats.
Well, don't get me wrong. You heard me earlier. You and I did a show together last month.
Mm-hmm.
Even over the summertime, I said it. That Joe Biden has been one of the greatest presidents America has seen. And this week he showed that again. He's securing Reverend Warnock's Senate seat. He's the first incumbent president whose party did not lose the Senate since the 1930s.
Wow, that's tremendous.
So that is a tremendous feat on his part. The prisoner swap thing, as usual, the ultra-conservatives, the MAGA group are trying to make this out to be more than it is. The truth of the matter is the other prisoner, I'm going to butcher his name, Mr. Whelan, was accused of espionage, and the Russians are not going to let him go. Brittany Griner is an American citizen who got in trouble for something that would be a misdemeanor in the United States. And so if it comes down to priorities, people need to put themselves in that situation. When you are a spy or a Marine, as people are trying to classify Mr. Whelan as, the fact of the matter is this comes with the territory.
Sure.
And he's not a political prisoner as much as he is a prisoner of war, right? Very different distinction than Ms. Griner, who was a citizen who was accused of in their country, a felony, but in our country, what would be a simple misdemeanor.
Right.
So does the punishment fit the crime? Did the president get fleeced? I don't think so. Yes, he had to do what he did to release her, to get her released, but I don't think there was a lot of political calculations necessarily done behind that. It was the right thing to do.
Right.
I would not want anybody that I know that's just a Joe Blow citizen to be in another country and be held as a prisoner. held like a prisoner of war. It was grossly unfair.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, some folks are. I'm seeing, online, a lot of people were, just opposed to the whole thing, and I just couldn't believe it. And someone foolishly said something about, she needs to do her time. She needs to abide by the laws in the country that she was in, or something foolish like that. Oh my goodness, it just got really, really crazy. All of a sudden, everybody's, expert on.
Oh wait, is Brittany Griner black? I'm sorry.
Yes, she is a black woman.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, there's your answer.
You're right about that. Okay, well, we got a little bit of time. I wanted to dive very quickly, if we could, into this whole situation about the fallout behind Deion Sanders switching over to Colorado. The decision was made last week, but this past week has been bananas in terms of people just really going to the mat over this whole thing. I think I want to start by saying that I'm not sure exactly how long Deion was supposed to stay at Jackson State, but he wasn't going to retire there. So let me just put that out there.
Well, it's funny to me that the fans of Jackson State are getting up on Deion Sanders for doing what any other college coach would have done. He's being accused of, hijacking the culture and leveraging that into a new opportunity, but coaches do that all the time. The facts are, and I asked this question of a mutual friend of ours yesterday, and that was, did Deion Sanders leave Jackson State University in a better place than he found it? And I think the answer to that is obviously yes. And so there's no reason for the fans to feel jilted because he accomplished what he set out to do by winning SWAC championships.
Yeah.
And the reward for him is an opportunity somewhere else and a chance at a national championship.
Right.
We need to give people the benefit of the doubt and actually commend them when they do what they set out to do.
But he said that God told him to go to Jackson State, and so now isn't he defying God?
No, because God also told him to go to Colorado. I mean, I know there are people who don't believe in that. I do believe God speaks to us in different ways.
Sure.
Sometimes he speaks directly to us if you're listening.
Sure.
And, I don't think there's anything wrong with him saying that because in his heart of hearts, it's true. Many people may remember Deion converted and became a born-again Christian in the 90s. And he's actually impacted a lot of people with his own story, myself included. Michael Irvin talked about how Deion helped save him from some of the things he was going through at one point in time. So I'm never one to judge a man's heart, but I do know he deserved the opportunity to be at a P5. And that's what our HBCU alums at Jackson State and other universities need to understand. We go to college to better ourselves and get an opportunity. This is no different for Deion Sanders.
Yeah, and not to mention all of the opportunities that he's going to be creating for, other folks, in his move to Colorado, right? And then ultimately, when he becomes a coach of Florida State, I'm putting it out there now, those opportunities that will come from that. So I think this is just all good all the way around. I don't see any bad in it.
Agreed.
All right, but listen, I just got to ask because, I'm not sure the next time that we're going to be able to be together on air, and so I want to get it on the record. Excuse me. I just want to make sure that you have a really great Christmas present for me this year.
I'm sorry, there's a lot of static on the line. Russell, I don't know what's going on. I wanted to make sure you have a really great, and everything just fell out.
No, sir. Christmas gift, my Christmas present? Yeah. Because it is Centennial Year, Sigma Gamma Rho sorority. Yeah.
You gonna milk this Centennial Year?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're going to get the same postcard with my daughter's smiling face on it that everybody else gets there this year.
Oh, okay, and it's actually a beautiful card. I love it. I look forward to getting it every year. But I'm thinking you could, do a little something extra, 1922 to one of our scholarship funds or something, just, I guess.
1922 scholarship fund?
No. 19. You could donate 1922 to a scholarship fund or, something else, that supports, You know.
Oh, we can donate $19.22 to it.
Oh, no. 1922. 1,922. Yeah. See. Yeah.
I'm so confused today. We got to do something about the lines. Every time you open your mouth, I hear static.
Oh,
it's
man.
an incredible amount.
Really?
Of static.
This how we gonna end it? All right.
I fixed the static. Thank you.
Never said do not throw him under the bus. He did what he was supposed to do. So ain't no static, buddy.
Sounds clear as day. All I hear is Kenya laughing. I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's all right. I know where you live, homie. That's okay. But I appreciate you joining in. Thank you so much. And thanks to all the listeners. Appreciate you guys listening. And thanks for having me, Clint, on Straight Up the Middle. Till next time, take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.